Around about 3,400 years ago, Moses led the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt to the Sinai Peninsula. And in the Sinai Peninsula, they came to Mount Sinai. The mountain is 3 kilometres above sea level. St. Catherine's at the bottom is about half a kilometre above sea level. That means you climb 2 kilometres into the sky and you reach the top. Made famous because this is the place where Moses was said to have received the 10 Commandment law of God, from God himself, written with his fingers, inscribed with his own hand. Just before Moses was to receive the 10 Commandment law from God, Mount Sinai was trembling, it was shaking, the clouds were gathering around about, lightning was flashing because God himself was descending upon the top of this very mountain. Well, it's as good as any other mountain around the Middle East. It's quite likely that this is the Mount Sinai area that the Holy Bible is writing about. But when God visited, when 10,000s of his angels, it records how the thunder just shook the mountain, it trembled. It records how lightning flashes and God's voice peals across the camp of the Israelites. The Israelites, not surprisingly, were shaking in their boots. They begged Moses, please tell God not to talk to us any longer. And so Moses spoke to God. And God said, well, Moses, I'll talk to you. Come up to the top of the mountain. At the top of Mount Sinai is this beautiful little hollow over here. And this is where many Bible dictionaries show the photograph of where people imagine Moses may have talked with the God of the universe. Wouldn't it be wonderful to think, I don't know if it's so or not, but that here God descended from out there in the universe to the top of this mountain. There he talks with Moses, and at that hollow, God reaches forth his hand through the cloud, through the thunders and the lightnings, and he gives Moses his 10 Commandment law, inscribed with his own finger. Imagine being there. God was writing an agreement with his people. And God's agreement was, if you follow these laws for happiness, you're going to have a happy life here on earth. Now, what was the 10 Commandment law that Moses received from God on Mount Sinai? It begins, don't have any other gods beside God. And then it continues. God said, if you love me, if you've got a relationship with me, of course you're going to respect your mum and dad. I mean, think about it. If you love the God of the universe, don't you think you're going to love those that gave you life? And so God gives the 5th law, which really is the 5th promise. And the promise says, if you know what I'm like, if you have a relationship with me, for sure you're going to respect your mother and your father. And guess what? When you do so, you're going to add years to your life. Amazingly enough, buried in the middle of God's holy law of 10, law number 5 guarantees a longer life than we would have otherwise lived if we respect and honor our parents. And what's the best way to respect and honor parents? Well, first, you need to learn how to respect and honor God. Then loving parents becomes easy.